Hello everyone, my name's Trevor Blake and you can find me at trevorgblake.com. I'm a serial entrepreneur. Serious businesses, total value so far of the 3 that I've sold, up to 600 million. And I'm currently in the process of exiting company 4 and I have company 5, 6 and 7 that I'm building. Hopefully, if this is the first time you see me on a video, I suggest that you stop this video now and go back to the previous one, where I talk about intentions. I introduced the concept of intentions as not an alternative, as the new way of achieving dreams. I've been using intention setting for 30 years, and that's just one aspect of the success I've had as a result of it. And it's what I teach in 3 Simple Steps, and particularly in the course Transformation, which is a life-changing experience for everyone who completes it. Yes, it sounds like I'm promoting a course, but I don't get anything out of it. All of my proceeds go to cancer research and development or to my animal rescue programs. Transformation is a multi-dimensional experience and it never really ends like a typical course. So most attendees, it's constantly updated, and most attendees, upon completion, immediately go back again. And 2 of the reasons are the content is updated, or 3 reasons. The content is updated. Secondly, the more you do it, the deeper you go, the more you finesse your magical skills. And thirdly, the attendees on the course are of like-mindedness. And many of them are, in fact, most of them now are incredibly successful in their own field, whether it's art or crafts or business. And so sharing that camaraderie with people who've walked before ahead of you and have seen the success that they've had, particularly with intention setting, they come back and they share that, and it builds your self-confidence. And so it's a life experience. And I do likewise. So I'm also in the transformation course. I don't just guide it, I'm an attendee too, because it's a lifelong commitment to all of our successes, and it's testimony to the power of the impact of transformation. This is one of the things that gives authenticity to my message, and it's one of the reasons I actually came out to write 3 Simple Steps, Secrets to a Successful Startup, and build the 2 companion courses. And it's because there's no one on earth who needs the tools and techniques that are included in those things more than I do. I'm as screwed up and hung up as anybody else, and that's the authenticity. So I am a lifelong user of 3 Simple Steps, Transformation, and Secrets to a Successful Startup. And I have the success to prove it, so the proof of the pudding is always in the eating of it, so that's good, that adds to the authenticity. But others that have come after and done Transformation and 3 Simple Steps and Secrets to a Successful Startup, they have had far greater success than I have. And they're in the course and they're sharing all this too. So I really encourage you to check it out, trevorgblake.com. We have so many people who arrived in the courses, both courses, in deep debt and with low self-esteem, who are now running their own multi-million successful enterprises in commerce and arts. Some of my favorite examples are a female Sri Lankan teenager who worked in a sweatshop. I have no idea how she got the book 3 Simple Steps, and I hope it wasn't in the dumpster, but it was likely to, because that's where she got most of her food from. All she wanted to do was dance. She read 3 Simple Steps, she used the intention setting, and now today, some 5 years later, she's training with the Royal Ballet in London. All down to her courage, her discipline to use the techniques. What a fantastic story, one of my favorites. We have a once very depressed old man, as he called himself, 87 years old. A friend, because he was so depressed and so sort of gnarly, a friend gave him a free copy of 3 Simple Steps. And he was so annoyed with the friend because he can't stand self-help, and it took him ages to open the packet because he's 87 years old. But he flicked through it, something caught his eye, he sat down, he read the book, he started doing the techniques. He had once been professor of economics at the University of Virginia, smart man. And the story goes that he'd been putting off starting a company for 20 years because he thought he was too old. At 67 he was way too old to start a company. And now here he is at 87, thinking life has passed him by. He started a company. He's 89 years old now, he's 2 years into his company. The company is doing really well. It's big enough for him to leave it as a legacy for his grandchildren. But most important, he says, he's never felt younger, he's never had more energy, he feels like a kid again. We have many people arrive who are downtrodden homemakers. And one in particular strikes me because all she wanted to do was paint, and when she was a teenager, everyone said she's got real talent as a painter. But of course the husband dismissed it as the daubs of a child, and the kids laughed at her. And when she said things like, I'd really like to have an exhibit, everybody just put her down. Well, she's had 2 sold out exhibits in 2 of the most high level exhibition companies in Seattle and New York. We had a bored sales rep who had a really good voice, but the husband and boys told her that she can't sing because all she does is yell at them all the time. And she was a singer, and she was about to get a contract, and then she got a teenage pregnancy and her life changed completely as a result of that, obviously. And she's still a sales rep, although she's part-time, and she does it because she gets paid travel all around the United States to see her customers. But wherever she goes, Chicago, New York, Seattle, Los Angeles, she has a 3-night sellout show, a stage show, to hundreds and hundreds of people. And she also has 2 best-selling CDs. All because she learned the power of intention settings to achieve her goals. And in transformation, we have a lot of others. We have successful musicians, writers, filmmakers, esoterists, scientists, and of course, entrepreneurs. Check it out yourself, trevorgblake.com. The thing is, if I took all of those people at the beginning and a lot more, let's say I put 100 people in a room and I said to them, okay, what do you want out of life? What do you want to be? First of all, no one could give an answer. That's typically the response I get. No one really knows. What do I really want? And you need tools and techniques to help you uncover that. It takes a little while. It takes some effort. Having decided what you want, then I'd say, okay, what are the answers? And I guarantee that probably 99 out of 100 would give me some bullshit answer about wanting to make a difference in the world, leaving a legacy, curing something, building something, changing something. And that's all well and good, but those are not intentions. Those are vehicles to intentions. The secret to intention, or one of the many secrets to intentions, is they must match your innermost motivation of who you really are. And to find that requires a really clear honesty and interrogation of yourself. You need to find a way to connect with your inner self, and typically your inner child. See, we're indoctrinated to be selfless and creative, and psychologists say there's 3 ways of seeing us. There's a way we see ourselves, there's the way we think other people see us, and there's a way that other people really see us. And we live our lives for the last 2. We should live our life for the first one. The way we see ourselves is the most important. Who are we? And when we discover who we really are, we find we have a motivation to do or to achieve something that's very, very simple at its core. Let's take an example. So I'll call her Jenny. Her name's not Jenny, obviously. And I know her well. I've known her for a few years. It's a typical story. She's fed up of years of being talked over in a male-dominated office environment, of having her ideas squashed and ignored, of being passed over for promotion by people who are, half the intellect that she has, and also being sexually harassed by people who think that their higher rank gives them the entitled to suppress somebody and oppress somebody. It's sickly, sick-making, but it's endemic everywhere, not just in the United States, everywhere. And you'd think that after all that, she goes home and it would be a sanctuary for her, because isn't that what home is supposed to be? But no, at home, her husband takes her for granted. He never cooks, he doesn't clean. He just watches the History Channel on TV. The children just take her for granted, and she's a loving mother, so she feeds them, and she gets them up, and she picks up after them. She's a fool to herself, of course. We all are in that respect, because we love everyone else more than we love ourselves, typically. But it got to the point where she got so fed up, and we had yet another one of our conversations over a bottle of wine, where she just says, that's it, I'm done. And she did actually, fair dues to her, she did actually go around and basically, and I'll use a polite phrase, tell everybody to go forth and multiply. So she told her family, that's it, I'm done. And she told her employer, that's it, I'm done. And she went off and she started her own business. A simple business, a little business. Staging houses that are going to be sold. So the real estate agent comes to her and says, they've moved out, the house is empty. Empty houses are really hard to sell. You stage it, and here's some money to do it. And she loves it, loves that business. And she let her family fend for herself, and she gave the finger to her colleagues and employer. And they all desperately want her back 6 months later. So in doing all of this and in coaching Jenny about her intention, not just her intention for her business, but her intention for life. That's what intentions are. Goal setting was about single targets, business or this or that. Intentions about rounded out lifestyle. And I said, okay, what do you want? And she said, well, I want to make a difference in the world. I want to count. I want to create something for myself that leaves a legacy that makes my kids proud. And it was that last point that triggered to me what she really wanted. And when she finished a longer diatribe than that about all these things that she wanted, which were all around about being a do-gooder, basically she was talking about She wanted to position herself in a way that others saw her in a good light. Nothing wrong with that, but it's not in her best interests. And I was smiling, and she said, "What are you smiling at?" And I said, "Because this is all bullshit, and you're not being honest with yourself. You've had a life of being a doormat, so let me throw some ideas to you and see if any of these resonate. Forget everything you've just said. What about you have one day where you're called to a reunion at your old employer, and you turn up in your Aston Martin DB11 that you've just bought for yourself, it's brand new, and you own it. And without having to say a word, because they're all watching you from the windows above, you don't have to say, 'Told you so. You got me wrong. Your fault, your loss.' You just have to drive up, park, and get out of your DB11 and walk in. And later in the day, you go to a lunch appointment and you get on stage and somebody hands you an award or a medal for being top entrepreneur of the year. Not female entrepreneur, that's condescending and patronizing, but top entrepreneur. And you go home feeling really great about yourself, but now you know you're going to open the door and you're going to have to cook for your family, and you're going to have the same, suppression of your self-esteem as you've always had. But you open the door and there is the dinner table laid out beautifully. And your spouse and your kids have pulled out all the stops to make you a beautiful dinner. And when you sit down and they pull the chair out for you and they make you feel like a queen, they don't say, "Well done for your award." They say, "Sorry. Sorry we took you for granted." And I stopped because at that point a tear was rolling down her cheek. And she said, "I'd give anything for any one of those." And I said, "Okay, this is how intentions work. We're going to wrap all three of them into a mini mind movie. And if you want to know what that's all about, trevorgblake.com is your home." See, the other things she was talking about are just vehicles. They don't help you achieve much. You have to keep imagining this lifestyle, and you have to feel it. And you have to feel what it feels like to pull up and park and see those people looking down enviously, and feel what it feels like to go in and say, "See, told you so," without saying "told you so. You have to feel what it's like to be on stage and be recognized, and everyone standing up and applauding and cheering. And you're recognized probably for the first time in your whole life since you gave up your dreams to bring up a family. And then you go home and you open the door and you want to burst into tears because it's the first time that you've been appreciated in as long as you can remember. That's intention setting. And it's intention setting because it matches the motivation of who you are, what you really want. You want to be appreciated in this situation. So an intention must match your motivation, and your motivation must be honest. And that means that your lifestyle intention is likely to be far less complicated than you can possibly imagine. My current lifestyle intention consists of 4 words. And the first 2 words are, I am. The process of figuring all this out requires some tools and techniques. They're unique, you won't find them anywhere else. That's why I developed them. I've been developing them over 30 years. And so for more information, and if you want to release your life, then go to trevorgblake.com and drop down one of the rabbit holes. Thank you.